Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? We're back again with an actual YouTube video that we create off of the live stream. So we're here, and today we've got a banger video coming up. This one is special. I've been talking about this for years and years and years, and sometimes I'll eventually make one, but we're here to talk about an Assassination Rogue starter guide. You know, we're gonna cover some of the basics of what's going on. We're gonna start with the talents, right? The stat priority, enchants that I'm thinking is good, rotation, kind of what's important, things to look out for. Mind you, it is 3 a.m. I have to go to the dentist in 5 hours, but we have to send this tonight, so we're doing it. So that's going on. But before we hop in this crazy video, this is what's going on. Guys, we have a brand new merchandise line. We're gonna put the link either on the screen or in the bio, or both ideally. Ed, you gotta do your thing there. But this merch is only gonna be out for 2 more weeks. This is it right here. Here's one of them. I got it on right now, but this is it closer up. Check the logo. Boom, we got a new design on the Move logo. Here's the hoodie. Got the back as well. Looking crazy, man. The new merch goes hard. 2 more weeks left on it, man. Me and Sibs went crazy on it, all right? I'm wearing a size large. It's high quality. Get yourself some merch, all right? Please. Thank you. Guys, we're here to talk about Assassination Rogue right now. As we all know, the brand new season has just started, and Sub Rogue is coming off some heavy nerfs, and even Assass got nerfed with the Exsanguinate. So what do? We switch the build up. We find the new tech. We copy the Europeans. It comes over here, and now we've got the build. So this is what I've got going on right now. I'm going to pull up my talents right here. There's 2 main builds for Assassination right now. I've got both. We'll make a video on the other one later, but for now, this one seems like this is the main build. So the main thing about this Assass build is it's very reliant on 4 poisons. This talent called Dragon Tempered Blades. This basically makes it so you can have double the amount of poisons as normal. So instead of just having wound or crippling or deadly and crippling, we can now have 4. So this gives us a lot of options. So just looking at the tree, this is the build. Maybe I can give Ed the import code so you guys can copy it. Some things about the build that can maybe change is your honor talents can change based on matchup. You know what I mean? Maybe you want to have Smoke Bomb. Maybe you don't need Disarm, you're fighting casters, you know what I mean? So the main things you would switch is you basically always keep Hemotoxin, and Dismantle is very important, and basically you rotate between Maneuverability, Smoke Bomb, and these 3. So that's kind of how that works. So the other options are not that great. Control is King is not that useful. System Shock, Creeping Venom, Death from Above. I can't really see much value in any of these. And yeah, we don't take Tricks of the Trade either, so that's not it. And then Dagger in the Dark is bad too. So those are the talents. So Hemotoxin, Dismantle, Maneuverability, and Smoke Bomb. That's what we're looking for. And in the build, as you guys can see, we are specializing in the 4 poison talent. Some other things that I've looked at in this build that you could maybe make an argument for that a lot of people talk about is Bone Spike. Some people think Sepsis is good. Me personally, I think Sepsis is garbage. It's an extra global, and with the way this build is laid out, you don't have a lot of the extra Mutilate damage modifiers. So Bone Spike inherently is a lot more damage than Mutilate. So, and Bone Spike is range. You get better combo point regen. Can't be dispelled. Helps you when you're low energy as well to get points up, get bleeds up. So I think Bone Spike is generally a lot better. We also don't have Exsanguinate in this build. I'm not totally sure how I feel about that. I might try to see if there's any way to get that, because I actually personally like Exsanguinate, but maybe with how the build works, you could make an argument that you want to try to keep Deathmark up longer to get double growths and double ruptures for longer, and the double poisons. So on the right side, the only thing that looks really interchangeable is maybe we can try to look at Exsanguinate, but I don't think we ever change out of Bone Spike. And everything else looks pretty set in stone. Maybe some people say instead of amplifying poison, you could play deadly poison. I think amplifying is still good because it basically gives you a deadly poison damage and it helps your Envenom, which is kind of main burst. So yeah, nothing too much there. That's kind of what the right side of the tree looks like. And we'll have the import code below the stream. So on the left side here, once again, not too many things are interchangeable here. I was playing with this today. It's only been 1 day, so we don't know everything, but I'm kind of just throwing it around right now, throwing it out there. Cold Blood feels kind of weak, feels kind of underwhelming. There's not really another spot to put the point, though. It's kind of in a weird area. So yeah, we just talked about Cold Blood. Cold Blood is maybe interchangeable. I just realized another thing in this build is if you want to opt to play Wound Poison, the only point that I can really see that you can move besides Cold Blood is I could get rid of my Gouge. I could put that into Improved Wound Poison. So ideally, this is what the build looks like before I was messing around with Gouge. So that's my bad. So here we go. Now we have the official build here. This is so you're using Wound Poison. I'll go into like what poisons to use and kind of how to set up your character and everything like that later. But this is what the talents look like. The one thing that you definitely change based on matchups is this. So you can either have Atrophic Poison, which basically has a damage reduction poison application to it, And the other one is a mind numbing poison, which basically increases casters' cast speeds. So if you're fighting like melee heavy compositions, you'd always go Atrophic. And I think versus caster compositions, you would want to go mind numbing. I don't know if mind numbing is that high value versus all casters. We're going to see more as time goes on, but that's a good rule of thumb. So you fight melee cleave, Atrophic, fight casters, mind numbing. That's like the main thing you'd change here generally with this build. So some other things I'm thinking about though is maybe Cold Blood for Gouge, or if I want to try Deadly Poison instead of Wound, I'll take this out of Wound and put this into Gouge. Because this allows Wound to stack twice, which gives you a lot more passive MS, even though we already have the Hemotoxin. I'll talk more about that later. So this is the general talent layout. I think this is pretty good. Of all the Assassin games I've played, this one feels like it's the most consistent. It's the most solid, and I've had the most success with it because it's not as reliant on trying to basically one-shot someone and really damage heavy like my other build. It's more about consistency and kind of controlling the game. So that's our talents. So, stat priority. So this is another thing that's kind of confusing. People are kind of mixed on it. Me personally, I've always played Assassin Rogue stacking haste versatility. I've always thought haste gives you good regen, helps your bleeds tick faster. And there's definitely a fine line between haste affecting how many times your bleeds tick versus stacking mastery, which increases the damage of your bleeds and poisons. Stacking all of one is not good. It's kind of good to have a balance from what I can tell, but we'll see until some more numbers come out. But this is just what I'm doing. I'm going haste verse right now. And people also say the argument of Thistletea right here, this talent, which restores energy and gives you mastery, that you don't need haste anymore because you get all your energy back from Thistletea when you're bursting. We'll see. Hard to say. Not the end of the world, though. They're both good. Haste verse and verse mastery, they both seem to be solid. So what's going on with the gear? I got basically full PvP honor gear. Like I said, I don't have any of the crit pieces. I opted for verse mastery on the gloves, haste verse belt, haste verse legs. Got my 5% CC reduction boots from the work order station. That's a whole other thing. Hopefully you can figure that out. If not, we can make a video on that maybe at some point. But even I don't know how I got it, but I got them. Haste verse ring, verse enchant here. Haste verse, or I got verse mastery with a verse enchant. So I got the 3-star leg enchant. I think it's the stamina and agility strength. The boots I think just give you movement speed. And then we have the on-use trinket because it has a passive of haste on it now, and this is just a ton of agility in general. So with Deathmark combined, it's basically a lot of burst. Standard trinket. I actually bought my Conquest dagger this week as well, and I enchanted it with the rank 3 Sophic Devotion. And basically what that does is it procs like 900 something main stat. And apparently if you stack 2 Sophic Devotions, they just combine into one buff. And apparently stacking the main stat enchants is what they're doing in PvE. Because if you get like one of the verse enchants or the haste enchant or mastery enchants, it's such a small percentage because of how the stat weights are now that I guess this is more value. So we're testing that too. Bracers haste first, just speed. Chest haste first, waking stats 1-star. If you have any gold, let me know. Maybe get the 3-star. I got a haste first cape with speed. Haste first shoulders. Haste first, 3 gems in the neck. A lot of people don't know you can put gems in your neck. All you have to do is go to the auction house, go to the item enhancement and the neck, and there's a couple ways that they say you can do it, but I have done it where I buy the rank 1 enchant, the rank 2 enchant, and the rank 3 enchant. I put the rank 1 on first, then the rank 2, then the rank 3, in that order. Some people say you could do 2 rank 2s and a rank 3, but if you start with the rank 3, it'll bug out and you can't get 3 sockets. So make sure you do it 1, 2, 3 if you do it that way like I did. And I actually have a neck piece right here that I messed up on, so I had to just rebuy it. But yeah, I'll put verse haste gems, verse heavy on that. I'm not sure if that's even that good. Feels good. And then haste verse helmet. So yeah, I'm stacking haste verse. The only other option is like verse mastery. Don't think we're stacking crit at all, and that's pretty much the stat party. So we got the talents, we've got the stats. Now let's go. Let's talk about the poisons. Let's talk about the character setup here. So basically, when you look, your poison tab has a lot of poisons. And one bug with this spec is you actually have to reapply poisons every single game with that 4-point talent. So it's pretty annoying. But there is some speculation here. Basically, we always use crippling poison every single time, no doubt in our minds, 100%. Then we're either always using the numbing poison or that atrophic poison like we said earlier. Okay, those are absolutely mandatory every time. Then next, this is where it gets kind of confusing. So we've spec'd into amplifying poison, which basically allows our Envenom to consume stacks of the poison, dealing increased damage, and the application of the poison also deals some damage. So it's like a partially deadly poison. Especially when you look at details, it still does a good amount of damage. So people go amplifying every time. This is kind of another like, yeah, we're doing this. And now between this, we can choose either deadly poison or wound poison. And with our talent tree, we did spec into the improved wound poison. And some people kind of want to make the argument like, why would you need wound poison if you can just shiv on hemotoxin? and I'm kind of right there with you on that argument. But I mean, you could go full send with the deadly poison if you really think you got it like that. You do that kind of damage, you're really that guy. You could go full offensive deadly poison, spec out of the wound, and put that into gouge. Start using gouge as an interrupt, you know, just be annoying, because we still have our 4 poisons here. Or we could play the more conservative, kind of more smart, kind of more safer, like we'll stack the wound poison. So we go wound and amplifying. So basically, I think 3 guarantees are your amplifying poison, your crippling poison, and your numbing or atrophic. And then you can go wound or deadly. You can kind of feel it out. I've been playing wound. I think wound might be better overall. I feel like the deadly damage doesn't outweigh the healing reduction we get from wound poison. And I think there is a weird interaction with Deathmark. I haven't done the math. I don't know if anyone's done the math. I haven't done any research at all, but I have had a couple people whisper me in-game about it. So that's our source. I'm not sure what rating they were, but they looked like they were pretty into it when they were explaining it. So I'd have to say, but what they were explaining was Deathmark is, while marked, your Garrote, Rupture, and lethal poisons applied to the target are duplicated. I'm not sure if this is saying that we can stack multiple wound poisons on the same target, which would basically maybe stack with Hemotoxin. So it's like a 70% healing reduction, 65%. I'm not sure. Maybe someone who's a little more Asian than me could kind of get the math on that. I'm only half, but that's what they're saying. So either poisons, mind numbing or atrophic, crippling, amplifying, and either wound or deadly based on your talents. Let's go with wound because that's our build. That's what I think is good. Now, we've covered the talents. We've covered the stat priority. Now let's just talk about kind of, you know, opening rotations, how to attack, kind of how it works. Also, we have Mark for Death back in this spec. As you've been playing other specs, I'm sure you've realized Mark for Death is hard to come by nowadays. So we have that as this spec, which is very, very useful. So basically, a general opener of this. So one thing to notify about this build is we do not have Subterfuge, and I still don't like that we don't have Subterfuge. I don't know if I could try to rework it to find Subterfuge at some point. But yeah, so once you get knocked out of stealth, you're out of stealth. You can't stun anything, like you're immediately out. But one thing that stays when you come out of stealth is, this is weird to adjust to too, is that when you're knocked out of stealth, for 3 seconds, you still have the ability to Garrote as if you were in stealth. So basically what that means is I can open out of stealth, Garrote, Garrote, and Garrote, right? So you can go 3 times with that buff, which is a big deal. Even though you don't have Subterfuge, you still have the ability to get 3 Garrotes. You can't use any of those spells as stealth, but that one is good because Garrote is usually your highest damage spell, especially with all the damage modifiers you get from this talent tree, such as Shrouded Suffocation, Improved Garrote, Bloody Mess. Basically everything just, you know, adds up. So that's a lot of your damage. So generally, like a good opener to try of what I've been doing is you could start with the Mark for Death Kidney into a Garrote Ambush Rupture. Try to start with that. One thing I've kind of noticed with Assassin, especially kind of the pace of the game now, is it's really hard to kill people in the first stun. It feels like your first stun or two, you're really just trying to get the ball rolling and get your bleeds up, get your slice and dice up. As this build, we do want to slice and dice as well because we have a cut to the chase, where when we envenom with slice and dice already up, it's basically going to be up infinitely. So it is worth putting up slice and dice, but I don't think putting up slice and dice generally takes priority over bleeds. That's kind of my philosophy on it. I've always felt like the bleeds will do a lot more for me than my slice and dice, because if you think about it, you're never going to kill someone because you're slice and dice, but you'll always have a chance to if you have bleeds on them. So that's how I started that. So basically an opener I do, yeah, Mark for Death Kidney, get that big Garrote up, go into an Ambush Rupture, because once you Mark for Death Kidney and Garrote, you do have 3 points. But I feel like it's early enough that you go for that 5 points. Then maybe after you have your Garrote and Rupture on the target, get that Bone Spike up, 5 point slice and dice, right? Something like that. And you can throw a Shiv out here too. And we do have 3 charges of Thistle Tea as well in this build. So some of the main times to use Thistle Tea are ideally when we Deathmark. And basically Deathmark, it's going to duplicate our Garrote and Ruptures applied and that are already on the target. So when you're trying to min-max your Deathmark, ideally you want to get that Shrouded Suffocation Garrote from stealth, because the damage difference is just monumental, and that's a big, that you'll notice it in your games if you're actually getting good Shrouded Suffocations off. And basically the only way to get that off is by a Re-Stealth or a Vanish, or if you're a Night Elf, you can Shadow Meld. That's why Night Elf is so good for like every rogue spec right now. It's crazy. I'm pretty sure Night Elf is the best race. And yeah, bleeds are kind of tough right now because everyone's playing Dwarf. But yeah, that's kind of the main idea, is you want to keep up your Garrote and Rupture on the target at all times. Try to maximize getting Garrotes from stealth. Keep up Slice and Dice. Keep up Bone Spike. Bone Spike is going to be your biggest filler damage spell, since Mutilate just hits for so much less. Like Mutilate, we just do one Mutilate right now. It literally hits for 6k, right? But one Bone Spike hits for, it hits for 9k. Even then, it might not sound like a lot of numbers, but Bone Spike applies a dot and stuff. But Bone Spike hits actually a lot harder than Mutilate, and it's from range, and it builds combo points, which can allow you to get a quicker kidney shot or an Envenom, and all that. So that's something I guess I'll show you guys a burst rotation. So basically, if you want to try to do a lot of damage, I mean, ideally we need Slice and Dice up, but okay, let's just start Slice and Dice up. Let's say here's like a big burst damage rotation here, I think. See, Assassin's a spec. It's kind of hard to just have like a set way of doing your big burst. It's a lot of it's kind of situational. Like there's ways of trying to start in Kidney Shot. There's ways of trying to start with the Garrote Silence. Ways of trying to do it with Cheap Shot. Just the main idea is you want to have Garrote on the target, and Rupture, and Bone Spike, and Kidney Shot, and Shiv, and you want to have your Slice and Dice up, and you want to press Thistle Tea, and you want to use Death Mark, and your on-use Trinket, and ideally you want to Cold Blood and Venom when you have Amplifying Poison stacks. And if you can do that repeatedly, you too can also have the Elite Gear this early on in the season. So that's what we're saying there. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, can I even show you? Can I even show you on the target dummy how to do it? If I can't even talk about it and do it. It's like, this is crazy. So guys, okay, here it is. So we've talked about the talents, we've talked stat priority, we've talked about poisons you want to do, talents we can change, we've talked about the general idea of Assassin, how to play it. And by the way, you can watch all this live on the stream. I play it every day. I explain it all. You can see it all back. You can see the buttons I hit in real time, live action. You can watch it ad-free if you're subscribed. You can buy the merch using the X-Point merch in the link. We're going to try to show you, and we're going to talk about how to really do some serious damage, right? So ideal situation here. We've got Slice and Dice up on the target. We're stacking up Amplifying Poison. We already have our Bone Spike on the target as well. Let's say we have a Rupture on the target. So ideally, what we're looking to do when we've got this Rupture up, let's say we have a Garrote, but we want to go for the big Garrote. We're going to use our Vanish for the burst here, okay? So make sure we got our Slice up. We got everything up here. So we're going to Rupture. We're going to Vanish, Garrote, into a Mutilate, into a Kidney Shot, into a Shiv, into every cooldown, Death Mark, Mutilate, Cold Blood, Envenom, Mark Death, and Venom. And I think that has got to be some of the most burst damage you can do, because everything is duplicated on the target. You have your Shiv up, you've got the bleeds, and while Death Mark is about to end as well, you can also actually try to re-Garrote and re-Rupture as it's about to fall off, because you will get double bleeds. One thing to note in this build that is, I think, a crucial mistake that I even find myself making a lot is re-Garroting too early. Like if you start in stealth, like I'll compare a Garrote right here. So we'll Garrote this out of stealth. We'll see how hard it ticks. Looks like it's ticking for about 3,300. Now let's compare that to a Garrote from Shrouded Suffocation, hitting 5,000, 11,000 crits. So it's effectively almost double, right? Twice the strength. So the mistake I'm saying is you're trying to reapply your Garrote so early that you're losing a lot of the value on that stealth Shrouded Suffocation Garrote. So that's something to note. Is be careful when reapplying bleeds. Rupture is not that big of a deal. Rupture, because bleeds also do the same amount of damage regardless of how many combo points you apply them. It's just the duration of it. Basically, that's what the burst rotation is. You want to make sure you have Garrote on the target, Rupture, your Bone Spike, Slice and Dice up, and you want to be utilizing that Thistle Tea when you're low on energy to, one, get the energy back, but also for that mastery. So you're combining your Death Mark, your on-use Trinket, and the mastery and energy regen from Thistle Tea to keep spamming out Mutilates or Bone Spikes if you can. I think Bone Spike does take priority over Mutilate unless you're trying to build combo points. No, even with combo points, Bone Spike should build points faster than Mutilate, and it's less energy, which means you have more energy in case you need to, react to something. So that's also good. But yeah, keep the bleeds up, get the Kidney Shot, Shiv, Death Mark, every single cooldown, Mutilate to 5 points, Cold Blood, Envenom, Mark Death, and Venom when you have good amplifying poison stacks as well, all during the burst. It's kind of a lot of stuff to try to min-max. I don't think it's the biggest deal min-maxing it. I would mainly just focus on getting those bleeds up and making sure that you have the Death Mark and the Shiv on the target, and the Thistle Tea. That's what's going to keep you bursting them down. So that's what I got for the Assass build so far. Nice little quickie here at 3:20 in the morning. I got to go to sleep, and I'm going to have Invisalign tomorrow. So hopefully this is uploaded tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, tell all your friends. If you think we should do a sub video as well, let me know. If this is helpful, say something positive. Maybe we'll do Outlaw as well. Like I said, this is brand new. Literally just came out. I don't have everything min-maxed down to a science, but I have a good general basis of what's going on. And it's been working very well for me. And so yeah, hopefully it works well for you too. Follow the socials. Check out the stream. We're live. Everything's lit. Thanks all again for all the support. And hope you guys can learn something. All right. I'm out. Peace.